is good, defenders? And you know what? I might as well throw it in there for all of you that have been pura vida to everybody out there. Welcome back to Defenders of the Bank. This is episode 354 of the most LAFC podcast on the interwebs. And we, the three amigos, are back. That's right. You know my voice. It's the scarf. J.R. Liebert back after a little bit of a break for a week. Also back after, taking a break or two because he's so flippin' busy. The mouth of the MASL himself, also of UC Riverside, of like 15 other things that he likes to do. I give you one Christian Philly Philemon.
Scarf, first and foremost, it is good to see you. It's good that Costa Rica didn't whoop your butt, my friend. It's good that the kids you traveled with didn't whoop your butt. It's nice to see you alive and well. And we haven't been on the show to start it together. I don't know if we've ever been on the show to start it with one another. We finished it from time to time. But this is a very good pod to commiserate because on comes the red lenses. And when the red lenses come on, that means we are seeing red. Scarf, I am a man of alliterations. Therefore, I will start. Frustrated Philly is in a foul mood on Friday evening as LAFC gets fried and flustered in Fort Lauderdale. There you have it. But what doesn't fluster me is the fact that we are joined by the third part of Defenders of the Bank this season. We give you, and by the way, he did a phenomenal job doing it solo, one Chris Lafferty.
Good evening, Defenders. And not only welcome back to all of you, but welcome back to J.R. Liebert, the Scarf, back in the States and raising his hand like the good students that he had. He's now embodying them and raising his hands to be called upon. So I'm going to throw it back to you, JR.
You know how I could tell we're all tired? Philly's alliteration included the word Friday. It's Thursday.
Friday Eve, didn't I said?
Friday Eve?
Thursday is Friday Eve.
Sure, we'll go with that. All right. I want to throw something out there. Philly, you've got on the red colored glasses because you're seeing red. I'm going to do something a little unconventional after this match. And I'm going to put on, if I had them, this is kind of pink, which is like the color of a rose. By the way, this episode, absolutely brought to you by Red Bull for me. I'm going to put on some rose-colored glasses. And I'm going to say one thing that'll probably piss off half the people in the chat. I'm going to say this. The problem was not Cherundolo. For everybody out there that wants to blame Steve Cherundolo, I'm going to say this. You're going to see a theme from the Scarf in this one. And I know Doggo Wisdom says Dolo out. Geezy in the chat says Dolo out. Everybody else who's in there, I got to say, to create as many opportunities as we did over the course of 90-plus minutes, we had created seven opportunities that we should have scored on. It is a problem on the pitch, not a problem with tactics. Now, I know Chris Lafferty wants to talk about one of the substitutions, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'm telling you right now, Philly, I'm telling you right now, Lafferty, in my opinion, it is not on Steve Cherundolo. And everybody, by the way, who disagrees has now turned off the podcast. So, oops. But there you go.
I look at it this way. To quote Casey Stengel, the manager of the 1962 New York Mets, you and I have referred to this on countless occasions throughout the history of this podcast. When interviewed and asked about his team's execution, Casey Stengel candidly said, I'm in favor of it. And look, we could get into the opinions about the manager and all that other stuff later. But you are right. At some point, it's about the players executing. They were given everything that they needed to succeed. In fact, handed opportunities. Got almost CONCACAF'd on a couple of occasions. 2 goals called back, everything going for us. 1 goal to start with, and then they blew it. And other people are going to probably create a rebuttal and say, well, they're not playing for the manager because he's lost the locker room. I don't buy that. Not when you're going up against the likes of a Messi, an Alba, a Louis, the master of the dark arts, Suarez. I don't buy into that either. But at the same time, at this point, I think there is a conversation to be had about a chair being warm. I do believe that. Do I believe the chair needs to be thrown out the door? No, I don't believe that. But the chair is warm. And to me, if you're going to lose some people in the pod by saying that you didn't think it was the manager's tactics, I'm going to tell you this. Dolo out by itself without a suggestion is lazy. It's an excuse. To me, it's the equivalent of saying, I don't want to go to the gym after I sat my 9-to-5 job because I'm too tired. It's a lazy effing excuse. But if you add an idea, then we have a conversation to be had. Doggo Wisdom has Jim Curtin in. My man, you want to talk about choke artists? What in the F did Jim Curtin do in the MLS Cup final in 2022? If that's not a choke job, I don't know what is. Sure, he didn't have the personnel. Sure, he didn't have the resources. But come on, you're going to trade Steven for Jim Curtin. I don't buy it. But anyway, Dolo out without any conversation is lazy. But I will give you this, Doggo Wisdom. You added somebody in the conversation, so that gives us the ability to have something to talk about rather than hearing parakeets barking and chirping. Dolo out, Dolo out, Dolo out. It's lazy and it's tiring. Give me suggestions.
I just love, Geezy, we do respect you being tired after your 9-to-5. I'm there with you, my friend. That's why I look more like a winter scarf than a summer scarf right now, because I haven't been to the gym in quite a bit. Philly Lafferty, real quick, because we're going to talk a lot about the Miami match in this one. But something a lot of other people were talking about on Twitter, talking about on social media, and I got to say, we pushed the conversation right to LAFC's doorstep on this one, was the, I'll say the email that went out to all non-parking pass holders. Philly, apparently you're in, according to Bam. Dolo out, Philly in. There you go.
Sweet.
According to LAFC, earlier in the week, they were going to do us all a favor. They were going to just save us the time of having to think about buying a Metro pass for any of the matches for the rest of the season. And they said, you know what? It's okay, season ticket holders who didn't buy a parking pass. We're just going to charge you $49 for every ticket that you hold. Was it 49 or 48? I don't know. Dollars for every ticket that you hold. Don't worry. We're just going to charge your card for you. And we put it out on Twitter. We put it out on Instagram. It may go down as our biggest post of 2025 because it kind of caught fire a little bit. A lot of people were super pissed off about a bunch of different things. And then LAFC actually listened to everybody out there. If you don't mind, I would like to read the actual statement, because if we're going to throw LAFC under the bus and be super pissed about them going to charge us for all the Metro passes, then we got to give them a lifeline and say, you know what? Sometimes clubs realize when they get it wrong. So we truly appreciate your continued support as a valued season ticket member, and we want to take a moment to acknowledge the concerns you've raised regarding payment for Metro passes. Our partnership was designed to enhance your match day experience, yada, yada, yada. That said, we understand this caused frustration for many, and your feedback has been invaluable. As a result, starting with the match against St. Louis City SC on April 27th, all season ticket members will receive free Metro passes for the rest of the season. Make sure you check your email. If you have to, claim your free passes by 5 p.m. on April 17th. We got free passes to the Metro, everybody.
I'm going to say this.
Yeah,
the delay. Okay, Chris, go for it. Go for it.
Right. I had some thoughts on this that I was very passionate about in the One More Sleep episode, because I hated how they put the onus on us to be the ones to opt out so that they wouldn't charge us for something that we never asked for in the first place. That's not what we signed up for with season tickets. I was very upset about that. All I wanted was the option to opt in instead. If they had put that offer out with it, perfect. No one bats an eye, and I think that's it. And so we asked for them to make it right. We asked for everybody to write their reps and let them know that we would prefer that they have us opt in instead. And this was their response, which I thought was going above and beyond to rectify the situation. I hope in the future they take that suggestion to have us opt into additionals as opposed to putting the onus on us. But I must say, I was very happy. I was hoping that they would make it right, and they more than made it right. So I'm very grateful to LAFC how they responded to us and how thoughtful they were to not only make it right by us, but also provide us with the passes for free, which is way more than I even wanted and to begin with. So I'm grateful to LAFC, and I thank them for listening to us. And I thank everybody for voicing their concern as well.
Yeah. Look, we're a generation that has our attention span pulled from so many different sources. The phone rings constantly. I'm getting calls from people all over the country, all over the world, spamming out like a mother. I don't go through every single email I get. A good portion of them goes through the junk mail. People get their news from memes. We're not a society right now that likes to take the time to read the fine print. I'm going to bring up producer Panda for a specific reason. Her phone, and for those that are OCD, they'd lose their mind. She's got like 996 unread emails on her phone. Why? Because she's inundated by everybody. Every freaking vendor out there, anything that AI is listening to, effing Alexa's listening to us, sending us all these emails, and then putting, like you said, the onus on us to have to respond. No, let me read and let me decide. Because if I'm not going to read, and Scarf knows this, I'm not going to pay attention to half the stuff because I'm battling Geico and Allstate emails and stuff from Fanatics and stuff from eBay and stuff from somebody in, I don't know, Jakarta trying to tell me that my password on Amazon is wrong, that I need to log in here and call them to recoup. There's just too much. So don't give us any more work. Thank you.
Absolutely. Look, I agree. The bottom line is, Lafferty, I think you hit the nail on the head. There wouldn't have been a peep about the whole thing if they would have allowed everybody to opt in instead of opt out. And because they didn't allow everybody to opt in, forced everybody to opt out, that's all. That's all that it was, you guys. LAFC, hopefully we learned something from that, because it really did piss a lot of people off, to be perfectly honest. And look, when
rightfully
fans, when supporters are being squeezed in the real world in every way, shape, and form, it almost felt like LAFC was trying to pull a fast one on a lot of people. And I think that was the hard part, right? It seemed a little underhanded. I know everybody that we've talked to at LAFC says, no, that was just the kind of the agreement they had with Metro. It went over poorly. One other small bit of news, we got a little bit of a change near or at the top of LAFC, as Stacey Johns, who has been the chief operating officer for quite some time at LAFC, moves into the CFO role, chief financial officer of LAFC. Chief business officer. She was CFO and then COO. Now she's CBO. Chief Business Officer. I want to make sure I get that right. Obviously, our good buddy Larry Friedman used to occupy that role. Now he's going to be serving the role, serving the team in a front office capacity, still doing a lot for LAFC. I know a lot of people have tried to equate the two things, but no, I don't think those two things are equated whatsoever. But we, who have been good friends with both Larry and Stacey for quite some time, all I know want to offer up our congratulations to Stacey for her new role as CBO of the club.
I'm with King Lachero in the chat. He says, can we make jerseys affordable again? I agree. I'm not trying to spend $194 on another LAFC jersey. I'm wearing my old ones. I get to recycle them. This was the 2019 Kid Childhood Cancer one that I'm wearing. I'm just going through the old jerseys because I don't want to spend $200 on a kid. But going back, yes, congratulations to Stacey John. In my interpretation, and even having studied business at Indiana University, I was always under the impression that after the CEO was the CFO. I didn't realize that the CBO. Now it occupies a higher level than the CFO. So clearly things have changed in the corporation hierarchy. But congratulations, Stacey John. She works her tail off, as does Larry Friedman and a lot of the people at that level of LAFC. And yeah, congratulations. Super awesome. Doing a lot of work in Zurich with Grasshopper and a whole bunch of other stuff. So kudos. Nobody could be more deserving than her.
And oh, by the way, happy birthday, Larry Friedman. April 10th.
Yes.
It's Larry's birthday. Larry, we love you. We know you listen. You give us a lot of crap after some of the episodes, and we deserve it. And we appreciate you, and we love you. Larry, happy birthday. Philly, by the way, it's also the birthday of the player we termed the most interesting man that we've ever interviewed on our podcast, goalkeeper Charlie Lyon. It's Charlie Lyon's birthday today. It's also one of the co-managing partners of LAFC, co-founder of Riot Games, creator of League of Legends, Brandon Beck. Happy birthday to those three. I mean, I don't think you could have a more interesting sit-down conversation. You get Brandon Beck, Charlie Lyon, and Larry Friedman at the dinner table. LAFC Punk's birthday was yesterday,
Yeah.
he says. I love it.
Max Bretos' birthday's tomorrow.
Yes! Max Bretos' birthday is tomorrow. And look, we had kind of a small LAFC birthday of sorts, which I'll let our good buddy Laugh talk about in a second. But because I like giving Philly crap about this because it comes up every April 10th, April 10th, 2018 was also the day that LAFC came out with their first ever Parlay for the Oceans kits. We know how Philly feels about that kit. It's the one that got away, according to Philly there. Have you still ever found one of those kits yet?
Look, I can't say I put in a Herculean effort to try to find it, but when that one was at the store, I remember there being a huge line there. I'm like, no problem. It's popular. They'll make another one. Boy, did I learn the hard way. That's why I bought the one the year after and the one the year after that. And they kind of all fell off of a cliff shortly after the that ocean-looking Flex Power Tools one. I haven't really liked the Parlay kits since then, but the one that from 2019, that's dope. And we've lost Chris Lafferty.
Nope. The one he's getting a parlay kit, I think.
Oh, snipes.
The Flex. That was the 2021 parlay kit I just showed.
Yeah, Lafferty. I know the 2019 release date, which, by the way, for all of you listening on April 11th, because it's April 10th right now. If you're listening on April 11th, back in 2018, we learned that Mark Rogandito and Gervina Catalina would be LAFC's local broadcast team on YouTube TV. That's all pre-Apple. In 2020, LAFC's match against Vancouver was postponed because of coronavirus. But right in the middle of that, in 2019, LAFC released their second Parlay for the Oceans kit. And all I see in our This Day in LAFC history in bright red is apparently it was also the debut of one Chris Lafferty for LAFC. Can you explain, please?
My first ever event of any kind with LAFC was part of their Earth Day Greener Goals initiative, where LAFC hosted a beach cleanup in Santa Monica. They were also, with that, partnering with LAFC HQ to make the Parlay jerseys available before the match that night for anybody who participated in that game, in that cleanup, to buy their jersey ahead of the game. That also was the first ever LAFC thing that I had participated in. I had just moved to LA a few months prior to that, learned about the club, was like, I'm all in. And the first opportunity I had to do anything, I saw this beach cleanup pop up. So I show up and I go through the line, I check in, and they go, well, we're trying to cut down on the number of plastic bags since it's a beach cleanup. Makes sense. They go, so why don't you pair up with another group and just join them along? I go, okay. So I walk up, I see a couple guys ahead of me, say, hey, mind if I join you guys since I'm by myself? They go, yeah, sure. Those two guys are my friends, Eddie and Andrew, who I have watched just about every single match at BMO Stadium with since that day. So Eddie and Andrew have become great friends of mine. They're my game watching buddies. And that was my first ever LAFC event of any kind before I even made it to a game, before I even made it to the stadium. So the Parlay kits have a very special place in my heart. We got to clean up the beach. I made some new friends and started my LAFC journey.
Well, there you go, man. And look, we are all the better for it, and we do appreciate you as a part of this podcast. Philly, I hope you're taking note of all those questions that you're highlighting, because we do want to maybe try and get to those at the end.
Yeah, these are really good questions.
They
JLA
are.
and A-Rod, these are questions worth exploring. I do like these. We tend to kind of get ahead of ourselves. So as we're plodding through this pod, y'all make sure I got the notes up here too, but remind us just in case we forget, because these are good conversations to have. I do like this.
Yeah, I'm starring them in the chat as well. So I'm doing what I can to multitask on that for you guys. Love you. Look, real quick, let's go through a little bit of LAFC 2 news. I'm sure all of you are already mightily aware of the absolutely heart-wrenching loss in the 120th minute that Lafferty and I were there for against AV Alta FC out in Lancaster in the Open Cup, losing that match 2-1. It was a heartbreaker, just crazy scenes in the 120th minute as their coach gets a red. He's being sent off, and then they score on the corner. So instead of the coach walking into the dressing room, the coach jumps into the celebration with all of his players. That player who scored the goal got a red as well. So just chaos out there, heartbreaking for the boys. We were absolutely freezing out there in what was, I guess, the tundra of Lancaster, California. It was very, very cold out at Lancaster Municipal Stadium, but a really cool showing out there for AV Alta FC. And then 5 days later, even though most of these boys are under 21, there was definitely a hangover as LAFC lost. LAFC 2 lost to Houston Dynamo 2-1-0. A really kind of meh game for the boys, even though they dominated statistically. But they rebounded, just finished up their match tonight at Titan Stadium, where they beat Tacoma Defiance 3-2 behind a winner from the spot from Matthew Evans to give him a brace on the night in the 88th minute. They'll be on the road for their next two, taking on Real Monarchs in Utah on Wednesday, April 23rd, before taking on the entire town FC in beautiful Moraga, California, on April 27th. And Angel City, by the way, hasn't played a match in quite a bit. They'll be playing Saturday, April 12th, when they travel to Houston to play the Dash. And as a reminder, for all your Angel City FC needs, be sure to listen to the Angel City Chicks and follow them at Angel City Chicks. Philly, real quick, I'm cutting to you. Will you give us all the goings on the other podcasts that you and now me from time to time work on? Soccer in 60.
Yes, Soccer in 60, which is on ABC Radio, on KMET, 98.1, 1490 AM, on the Empire Strikers YouTube page and Instagram. Soccer in 60 covers all the local soccer in the greater Los Angeles area, the MASL, as well as the USL and NWSL. And we're going to make a pretty stellar announcement in July in terms of where we're moving to. It's a huge, huge jump from ABC Radio, and we're quite excited about that. The beauty of the show is obviously we're touching on a lot of topics, but at the same time, the guests that we've had on there have been awesome. We've had the Nathan Ordazes of the world. We've had John McCarthy. We've had so many. Kobe Jones has been on the show. So many unbelievable guests. So check out Soccer in 60. 4 p.m. on Fridays for now. That'll change once we make the jump. Yeah, Macy Hodge also another one. So that was we interview people from every single team. So a lot of good dialogue, a lot of good conversations. Marco Fabian, the list goes on and on. So Thursdays at 4 p.m. Live Pacific Standard. And of course, that'll change. But Soccer in 60, check it out on all your major podcast platforms.
And Philly, we had a great time interviewing Sasha Kleshtin. That was
yeah. We had Sasha Kleshtin just the other day. We jokingly used to call him Porn Stash during his time in Orlando, and part of me was mildly tempted to ask him how he would think of that nickname, but nah, he was very professional, very concise, to the point. I genuinely enjoyed our dialogue with Sasha Kleshtin. That was a good time.
Yeah, we definitely had a good time with the Des Moines Menace legend that is Sasha Kleshtin. All right. Listen, we've been talking for almost 25 minutes. It's time to get into the match. And we are not going.
Officially, it's putting in my petition to join the 42 Originals on.
Oh, jeez. What's happening right now?
Shock value.
I don't know what to say anymore. For all of you that have to explain that part to your kids out there, that's Philly. You can... DM him directly. That'll be fun. All right. Real quick, all they did in the offseason, Inter Miami, was add another Barcelona legend into the mix with one Javier Mascherano taking over the head coaching duties. Look, if anybody has watched Argentina or Barcelona football over the last 2 decades or so, you know Javier Mascherano. He's done the Argentina shirt 147 times in international competitions, the second most to some guy named Messi. He's played in 4 World Cups. He's won 2 Olympic gold medals. He's the first man to double in Olympic gold soccer at the Olympics since 1968. The dude is an absolute legend, and now coaching his good buddy Lionel Messi and all of the Barcelona boys over there in Inter Miami. And Philly, Lafferty, the whole world was watching. MLS built up that first matchup a couple of seasons ago as Goliath versus Goliath, right? This was the showcase match, and we all remember what happened at BMO Stadium. LAFC absolutely, for lack of a better term, looked awful. I wanted to say something that Philly would say, but I'm not gonna right now. But this was our chance, you guys, after going up 1-0 in a somewhat surprising win at BMO Stadium off of, I'm going to do it because Lafferty's here, the old razzle-dazzle, Nathan Ordaz's goal. We go into Miami really just needing to keep them from scoring 2, as we now have as we want to keep the away goal tiebreaker. If we can get one, we will get one. More on that in a minute. But the whole world was watching as LAFC confidently answered the question, can we step up when the whole world is watching? And LAFC answered with a resounding, nope, can't do it. That's
it's problematic to me that we're putting so much reliance on a couple of forwards that aren't even able to legally hang out in a bar. Danny, snake bitten, man. What? He hasn't scored in 10 out of the last 12 games. That's obviously not Denny Bouanga performance. A guy who's scored more goals in Major League Soccer than anybody else has over the course of the last 3 seasons. But he did have a part to play in the first goal of the game, Scarf, because it started off of a set-piece corner that he took, and it gets punched out of the box by Inter Miami's keeper, who actually, played fairly well, denying Denny Bouanga. Ustari had a great game. He punches it out. Ball gets to Marky Delgado. He finds it to Nathan Ordaz. And then you've got Yannick Bright, who was sandwiched in between Ordaz and Aaron Long. Ordaz somehow gets it to the former UC Riverside Highlander, and he smashes it. 9 minutes in, jubilation. So all we needed is 1. Away goals count in this tournament. I know they don't count in a lot of international tournaments, but in CONCACAF Champions Cup, they do. So now Miami needs to score 3 goals. 3 goals. There's no way LAFC is going to allow them to score 3 goals, right? Son of a...
Lafferty, what I love is Philly just came full-on Stone Cold Steve Austin, out of the back, Budweiser's in hand, no lineups, no nothing. We're just getting right to the goal, and you know what? I absolutely love it. There is one small thing that I want to mention, but first, Lafferty, I want to give you the floor for a moment.
No, well, going off of what Philly said, look, we know everyone who was in this match, and that goal from 9 minutes in from Aaron Long, it came off of Ordaz, but you know what? It all starts from Mark Delgado. Mark Delgado getting that distribution, intercepting it, catching Miami off guard completely, and not dancing around with it, not trying to make a decision or think, who can I hot potato it to? No, he took a chance. He took a strike. He shot it on goal, and it went right to the keeper. But you know what? He went right after them. He caught them off guard. He caught them off, not even looking, not paying attention, and then took a chance and went right after them. I got to say, that's the type of mentality and attitude and philosophy that this team needs to go going forward in the season. I've been saying it all season. Attackers attack, strikers strike. And even though he's not a striker, that's the right attitude from Mark Delgado, is to take these chances, especially when you create them defensively like that. So I don't want to let that go unnoticed or unsung, because Mark Delgado, once again, as we've said every game, comes up big for LAFC?
Yeah, look, I'm going to say something that a lot of people found a very unpopular sentiment at the beginning of the season. But how about Mark Delgado, LAFC's MVP so far on the season?
Without a doubt.
Which I don't know that it surprises anybody who's watched Mark Delgado play over the course of his career, because he is who we thought he was, to quote the great Dennis Green. But I do want to mention one thing about the lineups. It has been reported, at least by one person, I haven't seen it by anybody else. If you guys have out there in the interwebs, let me know, that David Martinez was nursing some sort of injury in this one. And that comes from an actual accredited affiliated journalist in one LAFC Daniel out there, who works with our good friends at the Counterpress. So he's the one that said, I think, and I quote, had David Martinez been healthy, he would have seen some action in this match. I know a lot of people on social media were like, why the hell isn't Steve Cherundolo putting in David Martinez? We could use a player like that. I know he did pick up a knock in the Houston match, but he was in the 18 and available for selection, which I know kind of bugged people. And I think it really shows, first of all, where Steve Cherundolo is at, where up top, obviously, instead of starting Olivier Giroud, he started the kid, Nathan Ordaz, which he's been an absolute revelation for all of us. Unfortunately, Philly, with Aaron Long scoring the goal. Aaron Long, second goal of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. He also scored in the second goal of the Champions Cup. No?
Well, I'm saying he's got 3 goals overall.
Yeah. But he also scored in our 2-1 loss against Colorado. So both CONCACAF Champions Cup games he scored in. We wound up losing, unfortunately. So kind of a bummer there. But our captain leading the way, getting us off to a great start. Thank you to that Miami defender who didn't get back in time and kept both Nathan Ordaz and Aaron Long on side.
Yannick Bright.
Was it Yannick Bright who kept
Yannick Bright, who was sandwiched in between Ordaz and Long.
No. The guy behind him. There was another guy.
I'd have to go back and watch the replay. But Yannick Bright was in part of that play.
Yeah, the ball.
Well, it wasn't too bright of a play on his part, was it?
Oh boy. Listen,
I had to sneak that in.
I think that Maximiliano Falcon is going to be seeing
Sideshow Falcon.
He's going to be seeing
F that guy. If there's crybaby POS, he was the entire freaking quarterfinal. So many players on Miami, more so him. So frustrating, utilizing the dark arts to their magic, whining and crying. I didn't like Luis Suarez before this match. I hate him even more after this other one, but I'll reserve my thoughts for when we start addressing that. But yes, Sideshow Falcon, that little B.
Yeah, well, Denis Bouanga absolutely picked him apart in the 22nd minute. But listen, I appreciate Denis Bouanga wanting to be a facilitator. But I think if you are trying to make the right play in that situation in the 22nd minute, he gets his man 1v1, breaks his ankles, go right at goal and test Ustari in that one. You have to. But he doesn't do it. So he drops it off for one Timothy Tillman. And unfortunately, missed opportunity number 1 in the match for LAFC is Timmy Tillman not being able to get a whole ton on it and Ustari making a pretty good save. Look, can you imagine? 22 minutes in, LAFC goes up 2-0 in the match, 3-0 on aggregate. Miami needs 4. I mean, they might have taken the team completely out of it at that point. And then Philly, Lafferty, 1 minute later, as Ustari is distributing the ball that he has just saved, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch Delgado comes out of nowhere, makes that beautiful touch. And this time, Denis Bouanga is less of a facilitator, way more selfish, but can't find the damn goal. How is that on Steve Cherundolo? Stop it, people. That's missed opportunity number 2, and we're just 23 minutes in.
Yeah, Steve should have shot that one better. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, there were moments throughout the duration of the match last night where I thought we took a a time machine back to 2018 and 2019 when LAFC would just frustratingly pass it around the box and not fire the shot. I had images of Marco Urena in the back of my mind. Denny did need to be selfish a couple more times. Several players needed to be selfish a couple of more times. Fire your shot, man. If you have so many players in the box crashing anyway, if the shot gets fired, it comes off the keeper. You might get it to where it ricochets off in front of somebody to punch it right through. I hate the constant passing tiki-taka stuff that we've started seeing as of late. But of course, it is frustrating when Denny takes on 4 people. That's also frustrating. But then that kind of goes to show you how much confidence does he have in his other forwards. Nathan Ordaz, the type of player that has a good ability to shoot straight on. David Martinez, more of a playmaker and an ability to slash through and do things that way. And as far as Olivier Giroud is concerned, his stat line this season is the same as all 3 of ours. No goals on the season. So obviously no faith in that guy right there either.
Yeah, it's tough because we've seen the maximum effort from Denis Bouanga 100% of the time he's on the pitch, right? Nobody is questioning Denis Bouanga's effort. But there have been times this season where we need him to be the alpha dog. And I think what he's also been tasked with doing this season, and we saw a lot of yesterday, taking a lot of corner kicks, being thrust into a little bit more of a leadership role while he's on the pitch. And I don't think he's that, guys. In the chat, Cougar asks if we have a leadership problem at LAFC. We'll talk about that a little bit more. I think that we might, but I think Aaron Long is also a fantastic captain. But I think that we're seeing our alpha dog just not pick the right moments to be the beta instead of the alpha. We need him to be the alpha more. And I'm going to say this. I'd be perfectly fine with Denis Bouanga being selfish most of the time,
sure,
and not passing in the middle. That we've seen that maybe a little bit too much.
I think that's a fair assessment because he creates the chances for us. Anytime, look, we've been successful riding his back for the last couple of years. And obviously there's no reason to turn around and say, stop doing that right now. It just isn't clicking for him. And it's unfortunate to see that. But like you said, it's not because he isn't trying. In fact, I think he's trying too damn hard to be the man. He's not letting the game really come to him. He's erratic when he's crashing into the box, trying to get through defenders. And he's had some moments of brilliance getting through defenders, slicing through them like a hot knife through butter. That won't appear on any stat sheet, but in this game, it's in results-driven business. What have you done for me lately kind of a thing. It's been tough for him. Again, 10 out of 12 games, he hasn't scored. Sure, he had a hat trick in one game, but we need some more consistency out of him. Otherwise, we just need to finally sign a freaking striker, an assassin whose sole job is to just score effing goals. We haven't had that in a long damn time, and it's about time we finally focus on that. I love Nathan Ordaz. I love Nathan Martinez, but we need a stone-cold killer as a striker on our team. We just do.
Well, we thought we were getting one from France.
No, he's just stone cold.
Look, Ryan Hollingshead picks up that yellow in the 30th minute, and had we advanced, Ryan Hollingshead would have been suspended for the first match against what wound up being Vancouver. But I kind of love, Philly, this reminded me a little bit of the way Kevin Garnett, on shots that didn't matter anymore that were about to go in, would still defend every ball and grab them out of the air while he was playing for either Minnesota or for Boston. The dark arts, a little bit of shenanigans from Lionel Messi as he takes the free kick before the referee blows the whistle. And because the referee had no idea what the hell he was doing, the referee blew the goal good. Like, yeah, no problem. Great job. Wow. I said you could start. You're all good. And people had to remind our head referee of the rules that if you give a yellow, you got to blow the ball back in play. And then when the referee realized, oh, but I was just watching Messi play, that's not okay that I just give him the goal, they have to call it back. A little bit of a dark art there from Lionel Messi because he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're right. The referee did blow.
Let's talk Chris Lafferty, if you don't mind, about missed opportunities, maybe number 3 and 4, but I just called this one number 3 for LAFC. I think there were 2 in this one. But Nathan Ordaz out in front off of a beautiful ball, but it was kind of played, and I feel like I sound like the guys in the bleachers at Major League when they were watching them give up all the home runs. It looked like the ball was played too high. I think it was maybe too high for Nathan Ordaz. I'm not sure if it was too long, too far, too high for Nathan Ordaz. He kind of couldn't bring it down or time his run right, but he kept his head, didn't try to do too much with the ball, and your boy found a streaking Cengiz Under, and he did his best Carlos Vela impersonation, right? 1-2 touches, gets to the left, absolutely fires it at goal, but unfortunately right at Ustari. Lafferty, to me, that's missed opportunity number 3 for LAFC.
Yeah, and especially for a guy like Under, who I remarked it to Philly there, I thought Under had a quietly very good game, right? And not somebody that you're like, wow, here comes Cengiz Under, or wow, look what he just did. But as you watch him, he's making all these brilliant passes and creating opportunities, and he's getting opportunities for himself to get shots off. And I thought this one was one that maybe had a chance, but it just went right at Lastari. And I liked Under's game. I've liked everything that he's brought in so far this season, and I thought last night was another fine game by him. It's not standout performances. It's not anything flashy or something that's gonna make us go wow, but he created opportunities for us a lot last night. I was glad to see him take the shots himself, and I think that he's the kind of guy who, like we talked about, is not afraid to take these shots and take these chances, and doesn't show a lot of hesitation, which has been the problem for our offense outside of him.
Yeah, look, completely agree. But that being said, we needed to get to halftime, in my opinion, 1-0. If we're up 2-0, we're up 2-0 aggregate going into halftime. I thought it was really important for us to get in the locker room. But Philly, I thought LAFC got caught watching Lionel Messi in the 35th minute. They absolutely did. They also got a little unlucky, right? Ball deflects back to Lionel Messi, but 7 passes from the keeper to Lionel Messi, and just like that, we're level.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that ball watching, because the ball deflected right off of Marky Delgado's foot, and Messi had enough space to do what he did. He fired a golazo, and he smoked it past Hugo Lloris. The goal was incredible. It just wouldn't have happened had it not deflected off of Delgado. I don't think it was ball watching, and unless Hugo Lloris was Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four, there's no way he's making that save. His length, his wingspan, not high, not long enough. I mean, Messi, that was a world-class goal. Frustrating that it occurred, but world-class goal at that point. That was one of those moments where your jaw just drops. And if you're tuning in for the first time watching this guy, which sadly there are some people in this country who've never seen the man play, that was one of those examples of his glory, even at this stage in his career. It was a hell of a goal.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they said it about Thanos and they say it about Messi, right? He's inevitable. He's unbelievable. And look, as a neutral, if you're watching this game, I mean, this was CONCACAF after dark. This was MLS after dark. It was all the craziness wrapped up into one. And oh, by the way, you got to see an absolute golazo from Lionel Messi. I mean, he barely had a touch on the ball in the 27th minute and almost had a goal. I mean, the guy needs a quarter of a third of an inch of a whisker of space to be able to make something happen. That's not a lot of space. Folks. And I really thought at the end of that play, Miami playing out on the front foot the entire time for the rest of the half. But if Hugo Lloris comes up huge for us, a big save on Luis Suarez in the 41st minute, and then Messi from even farther, from way downtown, forces another diving save from Hugo. Hugo did everything we needed him to do in the first half. Hugo looked absolutely great in the first half. We go in up 2-1 on aggregate at the half. Obviously, the game level. I thought LAFC played well enough, but Miami showed us over and over again in the first half how little space, how little time they need to be able to put one right back. So we go into the half 2-1 up on aggregate.
We needed that goal from Denny. We needed to go up 2-0, and we had the opportunity. The unselfish play, the rare unselfish play by him, I think cost us an opportunity to actually go in with our heads held up high, because the minute Messi scores, that's going to get the crowd into the game, and that's obviously going to get the team playing with a lot of confidence. It's unfortunate that it happened that way. I mean, they were so close, like you said, on a couple of occasions to go up 2-1. We didn't even get CONCACAF. I mean, I would have expected that goal that was pulled back for by Messi, like in the 30th or so minute, to go against us. But you see something like that, and then you see something that happens later on in the second half, and you think the soccer gods are finally on our side for a change against this Inter Miami squad. But that was not to be the case. Just missed opportunities, which it was the tale of the entire game.
That missed opportunity is the story of the game. And Lafferty, your boy, in the 47th minute, right after halftime, Nathan Ordaz, a great run to win a corner. Good on Nate once again. And that corner, to your point, Lafferty, you were talking about how Cengiz Under had a very under-the-radar good game. A perfect corner to Ryan Hollingshead's head for a redirect. But unfortunately, Ustari is there. But your boy, Nathan Ordaz, and the guy who you talked about already, Cengiz Under, combining for what could have been a great moment right after halftime.
Well, the thing about those two guys is that, just like Denis, their motor is constantly running. It's not somebody, they're not either player that you have to worry about taking any time off during the game or taking any plays off or having any real mental blunders throughout. Both of them are really sharp. And like I said, they created those opportunities, and it's just, unlucky bounce off Ryan Hollingshead's head that it went right to the keeper and not into the back of the net. Yeah, would have loved it if he could have gone far side with it, but there's little you can do to control that in that moment. But again, Under setting our guys up for opportunity.
And then Philly, we're talking about Ugo, and as good as Ugo can possibly be, I just don't understand what the hell happens on the ball that Ugo. Does he pull up too early? Does he too tentative? Does he not get to it? I mean, Lionel Messi with one of the easiest assists that he'll ever have, just a nice little touch pass over to Noah Allen. Noah Allen, by the way, homegrown kid from Florida, through the Miami Academy, through Inter Miami 2, now getting 50-plus caps with Inter Miami. He's trying to chip it into the box, but why doesn't Ugo get to that ball?
And a better question is, why did some people give the goal to Federico Redondo? I don't think that came off of him whatsoever. He didn't look like he was anywhere near it. If you go to FOTMob clearly indicates that Redondo scored the goal. No. The guy who wrote it must have been drinking at Redondo, because there was no way that Redondo scored the goal. But to your point, that was a mistake and an unfortunate time where Hugo Lloris's boots were a little too heavy for him to move. That should have been a save, and it nearly was, but not by Hugo, by Ryan Hollingshead, who came crashing into the box, just didn't get the right angle on it. It was too little too late, but he nearly made what would have been the save of the game. It would have helped our rear ends big time. But yeah, Noah Allen gets such a cheap goal. I mean, there's no such thing, I guess, as a cheap goal, but if there was, Noah Allen's goal was a cheap goal. That should have never happened.
No, look, absolutely. But here's the thing, guys. We're 61 minutes in, 62 after the restart, and we're still advancing in CONCACAF, because even though it's 2-2 on aggregate, we hold the away goal tiebreaker because of Aaron Long. So if we can hold on, then we're going to CONCACAF. And look, you mentioned it, Philly, the soccer gods smiling on LAFC just 7 minutes later, as Luis Suarez was just, and I mean just, offside. And the part that I really have a problem with in that play, even though it didn't result in a goal, is I do think, again, our boys got caught Messi watching. And Messi is able to have way too much space, put the pass. I mean, he couldn't have placed the ball better on Luis Suarez's head. But lucky for us, he was offside with his head that he eventually scored with.
Barely offside. Some angles didn't even make it seem as if he was offside. So we almost got CONCACAF again. That's 2 goals that got pulled back. 2 freaking goals that got pulled back. And I went on record at One More Sleep with Lafferty saying that we were going to lose the game to Inter Miami 2-1, but we would advance that way. I was 10 minutes away from being a prophet on One More Sleep. 10 friggin' minutes. And another example of everything going for us. The missed chances, 2, not 1, but 2 goals being called back. That's why I wear those freaking glasses. It's why I'm seeing red, man. It's why I'm seeing red. It was just such a frustrating performance.
Yeah, look, we've already mentioned 4 goal-scoring opportunities that LAFC has missed through the first 47 minutes. How about 4 goal-scoring opportunities and 2 goals called back from Inter Miami? Now we're up to 6. And here's where LAFC Twitter went apoplectic because
Spell it.
in the 75th minute, I can spell it. LAFC makes its first change as Cengiz Ünder comes off. And look,
eyebrow raising.
We get it. We get it. He's probably the second most polarizing player that LAFC has after Olivier Giroud. Eddie Segura, although Marlon has now entered the chat. But either way, Eddie Segura comes on because LAFC needs to hold the lead for 15 minutes. So what they do is they do what we have done many times this season, and it has worked in 3 of our wins. It has worked, where we go to 5 in the back, and we go to 2 up top. Under comes off. It's safe to say that social media had some thoughts about this. I just want to go over. Cengiz Ünder had 35 touches overall, took a bunch of corners for us, 2 shots, both of which were on target. And he also had 6 defensive recoveries for us. But according to FotMob, who Philly knows already can't get the goal right for Inter Miami, but according to FotMob, he was the lowest rated of our 3 starting attackers, Nathan Ordaz, Tadiba Wanga, and Cengiz Ünder. But we know that he's still world-class and all he needs is a moment. So I want to get Philly and Lafferty, your thoughts on the first sub of the game. 2 questions I have for the both of you. Number 1, was that the right sub to make? And number 2, is it possible that he waited too long to maybe make the first sub of the game, he being obviously Steve Trundle?
Laugh, go as you started up.
I had a lot of concerns about the sub, about the personnel decision coming in on a philosophical level when he made it. I've always felt like if you've got the opportunity and you've got the advantage, you step on their throat and you do everything you can to win. I always thought there's a big difference between playing to win and playing not to lose. And I thought in this moment, we're just playing not to lose, or the term that everyone in the chat has been using, park the bus. I don't think that's the case, though. After a lot of reflection after the game, I had a lot of time to drive around, and I went to the gym, and I lifted really heavy, got a lot of aggression out, and something occurred to me was that it wasn't Steve just in a holding pattern, and that's why he put in a defensive sub for Ünder. It was Ünder was starting to look a little gassed, was having to stretch out a lot. And honestly, if you're looking at this and you're saying we have just the slimmest of advantages right now, what is going to be our better chance, our offense or our defense? Because we are not a well-balanced team. Very clearly, our defense is our strength. And our offense, in many cases, is just impotent. All of the missed opportunities that we talked about, most of them, if not all of them, are offensive. We have not been giving ourselves an opportunity to extend that lead or extend the advantage that we hold. The best that we could hope for is that we bolster our defense, which is our, at this point, only strength, and maybe make something happen to 2 attackers up front, or give the midfielders an opportunity like Ryan Hollingshead or Mark Delgado to get on the board offensively. And so I think that only happens not with adding another forward, which we're so not deep on at this moment and not effective with at all, especially with an injured Martinez as our maybe our best option off the bench, I think the best thing you can do at that moment is to bring in a defender to at least bolster that back line. My only issue with the substitution was the timing of it, because that is also a lot of way too much time for my liking to give Miami, to where if they are going to stay on the offense, Miami, to keep taking shots, eventually something would give. So I would wish that maybe we would give ourselves more of an offensive chance for a little bit longer in the game and then bring in a defensive substitution. But quite frankly, as upset as I was in the moment, after thinking about it, I don't blame Steve at all for bringing in Eddie Segura to replace Cengiz Under. I think Under's time in this game was coming to an end, at least for his effectiveness. And we needed all the help we can get just to hang on at that point, because we were not giving ourselves opportunities offensively to get it done. Our guys on the front were not cutting it.
Philly, your thoughts?
When you've got Messi on the other side with the game on the line and a slight chance at the opposition being able to beat you, you don't park the bus. You just don't. You go to attack. You park the bus when you've got 2 goals in that game, which they very well could have had. Messi was going to find a way. Why? Because history repeats itself, and he always seems to find a way. Us playing on our back heels against a player of his caliber, yeah, I would say cost us. If we're doing this against Albert Rusnak, no problem. If we're doing this, heck, even against Cucho, well, all right, maybe scratch Cucho out of the conversation. But anybody else, I'd say, yeah, park the bus. But Messi with the game on the line, no. That's like letting Tom Brady, your man, yes, I said it, have an opportunity to go down the field with a slight lead with an entire minute to go. That's like putting the ball in the hands of Michael Jordan with the game on the line. These players are from a different planet. They find ways to win. We needed to go out there and continue to attack, catch them snoozing. You mentioned, Lafferty, that Under was fatigued. 76% humidity last night, so that's probably a good reason as to why he was gassed. But these are professional athletes that train for these kinds of conditions because, well, there are other humid places on this planet, on this continent, so humidity wouldn't necessarily have been the factor in that case. You just give the ball. They just let Messi have the ball with the game on the line. That was the problem. Messi. Anybody else? No problem. Messi, forget it. You were just asking for the L.
I got a question for everybody out there that's listening. Yeah, we brought in Eddie Segura for Cengiz Under. I'm going to read a list of names for you. Yaya Boa, Nkosi Tafari, Adam Saldana, Maxime Chanot, Adrian Wibowo, Artem Smolyakov, Olivier Giroud, Odin, Thiago Holm. I didn't mention David Martinez because he was hurt. But out of any of those other names that I mentioned, who would you like to have brought it instead? Maybe you can argue Maxime Chanot, but we're going to talk about Maxime Chanot on the very next play right here. And Lafferty, you might want to cover your ears for this next segment because I know he's your boy. But maybe we could bring in Nkosi Tafari or Maxime Chanot over Eddie Segura. Maybe we can bring in more of an attacking presence in the midfield. Is that a Yaya Boa for us? I don't know. But who are you?
I didn't know that your octave level can squeak that high. That was pretty impressive.
That was good, right? Yeah. Who in our 18 or 21 or however many the hell players CONCACAF lets you use, are we bringing in Tomas Hasal or David Ochoa to do that? Because they were on our bench. I'm going to mention something at the end. LAFC is one player away on every line from being a truly great club. But the problem is we're one player away on every line from being a truly great club. And I think that it shows more and more and more and more how deep we might be, but how maybe talented as of right now we are not in that depth, that we bring in Eddie Segura in that moment, 15 minutes to see the game out. We talk about, Messi dancing around with the ball for like 15 or 20 seconds in the 79 and 80th minute. Finally, he and Nathan Ordaz have a staring contest, like an actual flipping staring contest at each other before Messi just easily lofts it over to Luis Suarez. Oh, by the way, he did that once and Suarez got called offside for a goal. He lofts it over for Luis Suarez again, and thank goodness it's right at Hugo Lloris. Buy a ticket. Go to Miami if you want to watch him play. But boys, you're on the pitch. Why are we all just standing there watching the greatest maestro to ever do it? Watch instead of playing. I was just so frustrated. And then Philly, I just, Maxime Chanot, visions of Maxime Chanot dancing in my head. I have one question. What the hell is Marlon's arm doing out like this as the ball is coming down towards, I don't want to say, oh, Aaron Long touched him a little bit in his back. Marlon, what the hell's going on, Philly? What in the world happened on that play?
I mean, he had 2 touches on it. One that launched it up to the stratosphere. The other one where he got caught doing the chicken dance. No question about that. Yeah, I don't know. His arm was certainly not in a natural position. VAR showed it. We didn't argue it. It was one of those crap moments. Like, that was clear as day. And unfortunately now, Hugo Lloris is going to have to stop Messi with the game on the line. It was, you mentioned Maxime Chanot. It dances. All I could hear is sugar plums, by the way. I guess I was still in a holiday festive mode. But no, look, I can't answer your question. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. I don't know what the hell this is when the ball is coming down. A ball that he launched up in the air. And Hugo Lloris, he was just pretty boxed out, man. I mean, there was just kind of, maybe if he would have been bull in a china shop, he would have just kind of crashed in a little more. But I don't think he intended for any of our players to chicken wing their arm out in an unnatural position and put us in the spot that they're in. And Messi was just so clinical with his free kick that Hugo Lloris didn't even move. He stoned him, completely stoned him. I made a comment, 20 minutes ago about how his boots were heavy? They were even heavier at that point because he had no shot at stopping Messi with the game on the line. I had nothing to throw in my house or in my close proximity at that point. But there were a lot of loud, thunderous F-bombs that were being shouted out at that. How do we find ourselves in a position to where we scored the first goal of the game, the opposition needs 3, and yet that's exactly the number we gave up? With 2 goals being pulled back, with several opportunities that we missed, this was a game we just didn't deserve to win. Point blank, we did not deserve to win this one. And sure, we would have been thrilled with a 2-1 loss and an advancement, but I got to tell you, it probably wouldn't have gone much further because the way we've been playing, Vancouver would have slaughtered us. By the way, shout out to Tristan Blackman for getting that goal the other day against Pumas. Vancouver actually looks real good. I'll take the L to Messi. I don't know if I'd be able to stomach the L to Vancouver.
I'll say this, though. We advance over Lionel Messi and Inter Miami by keeping that 2-2 aggregate and advancing on the away goal tiebreaker. I love our momentum going into Vancouver and having to play a Vancouver club who we've been relatively successful against in the past. But I do think on that play, personally, Hugo needs to be the loudest damn player on the pitch, screaming as Marlon heads that up in the air. I go. Because as that ball is high up, I don't know how to say it in French. Does somebody know how to say it in French? Either way, I go because that ball is headed sky high in the air by Marlon, and he's looking in front of him. And I know there was an Inter Miami player next to him, sure. But if you see Aaron Long and Marlon, I don't care what language you need to use, you need to scream, I go. And he needs to go up there and get that damn ball because turns out he's the only one that can actually use his damn hands to catch the ball in that situation. And so he needed to be more aggressive than he was. But it's okay, guys, because just a couple minutes later, after the Messi PK, we got the cavalry coming in.
That was Messi, all right.
Odin Thiago Holm comes in for Nathan Ordaz. And it's okay, guys, because Olivier Giroud, 3 minutes, 2 touches, completed his only pass. Olivier Giroud comes in the 87th minute. Here he comes to save the day.
Yeah.
Except this wasn't Gareth Bale in MLS Cup. This wasn't even Olivier Giroud in the US Open Cup. Full of sound and fury, signifying nothing, doesn't even begin to describe Olivier Giroud anymore. Because there was a ball or two that I think Olivier needs to get to, but doesn't even make that middle run anymore. In the 88th minute, Timothy Tillman with a beautiful steal between two defenders and finds a streaking Denis to Odin Thiago home to, I believe, Ryan Hollingshead, who heads it back to Denis Bouanga, and Ustari makes, maybe the save of the match. Definitely the best play that Miami had made in the half. And oh, by the way, that would be missed opportunity number 5 for LAFC. But wait, there's more. I started to get so frustrated. I can't say your name on this podcast, but I agree with you to bring Kai back.
You could just simply give the acronym FTG.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a good name.
It is. 5 missed opportunities. 1 minute later, off of the corner kick from that save by Ustari, instead of Cengiz Under finding Ryan Hollingshead, it's Denis Bouanga with a great corner to find Ryan Hollingshead, but his header right at Ustari. 2 great saves by Ustari on Ryan Hollingshead, albeit they were right at him. And then, Lafferty, let me get your take first on the shoulder shiver that Marlon gave Lionel Messi, and then just, I don't know if a fight broke out, but that was as soccer-y of a fight as I've ever seen. Your take on the whole ordeal with Marlon?
Late, harder than necessary. So I'm led to believe that it was intentional. I think the frustration was getting to him, but that could also have been frustration from Miami's players just taking cheap shots, walking right up to that line and forcing the referee's hand, knowing that the referee does not want to be the person deciding these games, and them taking all the cheap shots they wanted on us. And I have to wonder if it was him saying, okay, I'm going to start giving it back now. And well, like the bullies that they are, all they're going to do then is cry. Miami, that is. So I thought it was unnecessary. I thought it seemed a little desperate given that point in the match, but I could understand Marlon's frustration. It doesn't help. And I think at that point, my only problem with it is, well, gee, if you do something that somehow gets you a red as you're still fighting for your life in the dying minutes of this game, the last thing you want to do is go down a man. So I didn't care for it, but I think I understand his frustrations in the moment.
By the way, we go down a man, we actually play better, as we've seen earlier this season. So I don't know. Philly, I believe they called it on the broadcast a cynical foul there. My favorite part of the whole thing, and Johnny brings it up, Philly, is I think Luis Suarez choked Jordi Alba.
The caption, the quick photo of it was hilarious, by the way. It's like he had a Vulcan neck pinch on him. I got a kick out of that one for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know.
How surprised are you, Philly? How surprised are you that MLS, CONCACAF didn't protect their golden calf more and give Marlon a red?
I mean, look, there was a lot of funky things that happened in that game. A lot of CONCACAFing certainly occurred, but we didn't lose to CONCACAF though. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. I'm sort of at a loss for words with the frustration of the entire match, just from thinking about the opportunities that we had to how we completely blew this. I mean, how we managed to snatch defeat from the hands of victory. It never ceases to amaze me. Yeah, it's gotten to the point where it's happened time and time again, and it just sucks. This kid Nate Forever, who was in the One More Sleep chat, is thrilled at the fact that we're crying about things. I mean, my man, I'd be crying too if I was living in a bunk bed like you probably are right now with mom's house at 45 years old. Just a frustrating match overall, and I will never tell anybody how to feel in terms of their emotions. Yeah, I did say I jerk up. Yeah, all right, look, I'm eating my words. That's fine. Congratulations. Have this win. Probably the only one you've ever had in your life. But I thought all my frustration was with the New York Mets. I thought that's the fandom that would cause me all the lack there of joy. But LAFC's been doing it quite well these past couple of seasons. We've had so many close encounters with victory, and we just can't seem to win in some of these big moments. I don't buy into the dolo out scenario because in Major League Soccer, coaches don't get fired this early into the season. They just don't. And I think out of respect for what he has done for the club, if his seat is warm or if there is that talk, it's going to be a further conversation contingent upon where we go as far as the postseason is concerned. I mean, we're 7 games into the regular season. Still so much to be played. By firing the gaffer right now, that just says to me that this whole season is done, which I don't believe it is. Because going back to your point, we're a couple of players away from actually turning this thing around. We're a deep team, but not deep enough. We don't have that stone cold killer assassin that could score goals. People have brought up the name Chicho Arango quite a bit. Look, he scored 4 goals for Bruce Arenas on San Jose, but they're still 3-3-1. We just need a player like him, just one extra fire piece to go out there to really push us over the edge, because Denny Bouanga's not having a good season, and when Denny's not having a good game, we're not having a good game. And the reliance upon players such as David Martinez and Nathan Ordaz, these are kids that are developing. We shouldn't have to be putting them in the position to take the goal scoring burden on their shoulders. This is what's going to make them great. And Nathan Ordaz has stood out more so than most players on LAFC had. But we're close. We're close. Let's just put it that way. We're close.
Yeah, look, I think everything changed. By the way, we should have won this game.
Yeah, 100%. We blew it. It wasn't Miami winning. We blew it.
Well, yeah, but not because of the 6 missed opportunities in regulation. But Timothy Tillman, as much as people want to crap all over Tillman, and I kind of will for a minute too in just a minute, Timothy Tillman makes another steal, finds a streaking Denis Bouanga, who is out in front of everybody. And everybody it's not Drive Pink Stadium. It's now some sort of bank, right? I don't know what the stadium is called right now. If anybody in the chat wants to help me out with the name of Miami Stadium. Chase. All I know is
Chase.
everybody was chasing. Thank you, Chase. Everybody was chasing Denis Bouanga. He's 1v1 against Ustari with the entire left side of the goal at his disposal. And why Denis Bouanga tries to slip it to the right, my man, Seed, is in the chat saying the exact same thing. As much as we were frustrated, lifeless, whatever you want to say about our guys, I'm sorry. But if number 7 of the missed chances, 7 goes in, then we advance and we have cut the legs out from Inter Miami on their turf on the very possible almost last minute. And yet we're talking about Steve Cherundolo. We're talking about Steve Cherundolo, as Ryan Hollingshead gets 2 headers saved point blank in the box. Denis Bouanga has 1 ball, a beautiful save by Ustari, and then misses 2 other wide open attempts. Cengiz Under has a ball that has to be saved. I don't know. I'm not of the Dolo out camp, because if we're creating this many opportunities against Inter Miami, who will let you counter on them all day, if we're creating this many opportunities, it's not the coach, in my opinion. It's just simply not the coach. But I do believe, as Philly has said, we are 1 player away on each line, and it's simple. I believe our 2 best players this season, with all due respect, by the way, to Nathan Ordaz, I believe our 2 best players this season have been Marky Delgado and Igor Jesus. But we're lacking that third midfielder. Nay forever, by the way. I don't disagree with your Messi is the GOAT comment, but all the other stuff, take a deep breath.
Yeah, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, Louis. You really don't.
But I think Timothy Tillman in the midfield, while I think two of our best chances of the match came off of Timothy Tillman steals, I just think there are some times where he's not as in sync with Igor Jesus and Marky Delgado that we need him to be. So that's my midfielder. I think we're one player away from having a great midfield. I think on the back line, to me, it's clear. I love Aaron Long. I love Ryan Hollingshead. I love Sergi Palencia. But whoever that second center back is, to me, I'm sorry, it's not Eddie Segura. I don't think it's Marlon. I would love to see a healthy Maxime Chanot, but then we're banking on what, a 36, 37-year-old defender? I'm not sure that's the way I want to go. I really like Nkosi Tafari. Maybe we can get some minutes out of Nkosi Tafari. Maybe we can get some minutes out of Yaya Boa in the midfield. See if he's the guy. Somebody mentioned Odin Holm in the chat. Maybe it's a little early to give Odin Holm the keys to that third midfielder spot. And I hate to say this, but I think you don't have to think about it on both sides if you have Denis Bouanga and Cengiz Under. You can still allow David Martinez and Nathan Ordaz to develop, but it's that number 9 spot. And, oh, by the way, there's a guy named Kai Kamara who's still out there and playing for Sierra Leone's national team. We're one guy away on each spot, and I think those are my 3 guys. Lafferty.
There's somebody just put an iceberg in the chat, just said something. Chanel made a big mistake, but he's been solid for us all of last year. It seems like all anybody talks about is the thing that happened in the playoffs last year, that from the own goal from Chanel that cost us the match and eliminated us from the playoffs. But I don't think what people acknowledge is that was a fluke. A fluke. It's not indicative of his game. So the only question I have as far as the defense is, if he's in the 18 and if he is healthy enough to play, what is it that's holding him back from seeing the pitch? I just don't know. I don't know, but I would love to see him out there. I think that he is a much better player than any of the other options that we have to replace anybody. And I would like to see him start to get some play. So as far as that goes, I think that I'm all for Chanot, as long as the people who know a lot more than I do about inside knowledge of training staff, etc. If he's healthy enough to go, put him in. That's my take as far as he goes. Talking about Tillman, yeah, look, he set up Bouanga with that last pass, towards the end of the game. And yeah, it was a great move from Tillman. I was very pleased to see it. But that was 1 or 2 compared to the probably 7 or 8 times during the match where I was like, Tillman, what are we doing? Because it just seemed to me like he was causing a lot of problems more so than he was solving them. And with a guy like him, it was just very disappointing to me. But that one play towards the end where he fed it to Bouanga, who had the one-on-one, goes back to my point I talked about earlier. Even offensively, with a one-on-one against the goalkeeper and we can't convert, the problem is not our defense. And we have to bolster it as much as we can. You can maybe question the timing of putting that sub in like I talked about before. But I think it goes back to prove my point. No matter what we do, who we have up front, our best chance is our back line. And it's sure not our front attack.
Philly, the word we're seeing in the chat quite a bit is confidence in this one. A lot of people saying LAFC lacking confidence. Confidence is lost. Your thoughts on that exact mindset right now for LAFC? Where are we at with confidence?
I think it's more confidence that's spread among all of us. I don't think it's so much confidence for the players. I mean, these guys get paid money to do this. They're in a position to be where they are because of a mentality. I don't think they're at this, like, put on the emergency brake scenario just yet. Do they feel a little bit off with the way they've been playing as of late? Maybe, but I don't think this is a confidence issue that's shared across the locker room. Frustrated? Yes. Lacking of confidence? No, I think that's more so our fear, because in this town in particular, we're kind of fickle with our fandom and our feelings. Things start out great. One loss, throw it all out. One win, oh, we're back on track. Another loss, we throw it all out. And then rinse, repeat, recycle. We've just been fortunate in the past couple of years where we haven't really had to see this all that much. I mean, do you recall that 2021 season when it went down to the wire, decision day against the Colorado Rapids? We saw an awful lot of this same rinse and repeat cycle all over again. I think it's too early in the season to say that these players are without confidence. I think they have it. But where they're really going to display it for all of us will be on Saturday against San Jose. They need to come back and give not necessarily a convincing win, but beat the Earthquakes. I mean, we're welcoming back Chicho Arango. We're welcoming back Mark Anthony Kaye, who, by the way, has 1 assist on the season. We're get to see Joseph Martinez again. If we can rough up San Jose, I mean, I think that will inspire us all a little bit more, because right now we're all testy. We're all frustrated. We're all angry. And you think the players don't feel that way? Sure. Of course they feel that way. This is their job. We're paying their salaries. And yes, we demand some excellence out of that, but I don't think it's because they're lacking confidence. They just have been snake bitten. And the way to get out of that is to keep fighting and claw back. And so a nice answer against San Jose on Saturday could be just what we all need to feel a sense of relief moving forward. Still so much football to be had. Yes, CONCACAF Champions Cup is done. Miami's got a damn good shot. Honestly, Vancouver does too, and all the other teams have a damn good shot. The thing that sucks, though, is it's another season in which we don't get to have that opportunity. So hopefully what we can do is continue to rebound, play better, and end the season to a position where we can compete in this tournament again next year.
Yeah, a couple things, and then we're out of here. I, completely forgot that the Canadian Glory Machine, Mark Anthony Kaye, was on San Jose. Thank you for reminding me of that, Philly. I don't love that it's a very, very informed Joseph Martinez
4 goals
coming into BMO, part of FIFA's team of the week, which doesn't happen for a lot of MLS guys. He moved into 6th all-time on the scoring list in Major League Soccer. I think he's at like 118 goals now after his hat trick. He's got 2 more hat tricks, by the way, 7 than any player who's ever played in Major League Soccer. So that's kind of cool. I'm always happy to see Chicho Arango in the building. I think we all love Chicho Arango. I do want to say this before we close out.
We all love him until he would have started being snake bitten like Denny. Then we would have been all over him too, saying Chicho out. It's just the way things are around here. Couple bad performances. Everybody wants to get rid of everybody. Ollie out, Scarf out, defenders out. Blame the podcast. We've seen this crap so many times before.
No, look, I hear you. My only take on the rest of it is this. I think that in Los Angeles, when you've got the Lakers making massive moves to bring in a Luka Doncic, and then you hear on ESPN, oh, by the way, they're the favorites to land Nikola Jokic next year in the offseason. When you've got the Dodgers who have this checkbook that you and I can only dream of, predicted to win more games than almost any team in the history of Major League Baseball. When you have a team like even the Los Angeles Kings, who have had 2 cups in the last decade-ish or so and have aspirations of winning it again. And, of course, the Rams, who just won a Super Bowl several seasons ago. They call Inglewood the city of champions, right? But we all know that's an extension of Los Angeles as a whole. We know we've got the owners with the deep pockets. We know we've got a front office who has identified incredible talent before. And yeah, I think we're hurting having to give up all of a sudden on a player like Kike Oliveira, who decided to hide in another country instead of coming back to LAFC.
The kid gave up on us, honestly.
Absolutely.
Like F Kike Oliveira.
Absolutely. And I know we're hurting for facilitating a move that Matty Bogusz kind of wanted in going to Cruz Azul. The dynamism that left our team after Kike Oliveira and Matty Bogusz left. The dynamism that left our team after Giorgio Chiellini retired, as old as he was. I love that man. And the dynamism that left our team in the form of leadership by losing Ilie Sanchez. I think this club has some questions, not just in terms of talent on the pitch or tactics, but leadership. Leadership is where it hurt. You're absolutely right. J. David Wallace, Jesus Murillo, and his fire. We're missing a lot of things that I think, Philly, I think Lafferty, became our identity. Dynamic play, fiery back line, leadership in the middle. And we know we have a guy who can be that leader in Marquis Delgado, in my opinion. But is it going to be his team 8, 10, 12 matches in? No. Aaron Long's team right now. So I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. And I think that it's going to get awfully loud if LAFC gets the pants beat off of them by San Jose coming up this weekend.
Look, I'll say this. I understand. I know there's calls in the chat now for everybody start chanting this at the game. I want to say this, and I don't discredit anybody's passion or how upset they are with how things are going. And I understand that as soon as something goes wrong, you go to the man at the top and blame the coach. I'm someone who's not a Steve out, Dolo out person. I think that's just kind of a thing that most people say. As soon as one thing goes bad, they just immediately, by default, go to the coach. I think a lot of the problems, there are a lot of legitimate things that were brought up in this chat, but there are also many things I don't agree with, and I have no problem with all the people who brought them up. I welcome your opinion, and I welcome the discussion. I just want to say that I'm okay with a lot of things that are, I don't put a lot of things that are going wrong on Steve. And I think there are things that, he probably should have to answer to, or questions about the makeup of the team or the direction that the team is going. But I think that putting everything on him is misplaced. And I think that is what makes a lot of people just tune out to the Dolo out calls as well. So I welcome everybody's comments in the chat. I certainly don't ever mean to sound dismissive, but I also would welcome a conversation where we talk frankly about what is his fault and what's not his fault, because I see a lot of things misdirected as well. And the way that I see it, I'm going to continue to keep showing up to the games. But I also want better for the team, just like everybody who's angry with Steve does too. So while I disagree with what you're calling for, I do share the disappointment and how the season is going. And I welcome that conversation with anybody who ever wants to have it. So if you see me at the stadium and go, hey, Laugh, I'm so-and-so, and this is why I think you're wrong, I look forward to meeting you.
Oh, and Edney forever. If you are local, I'm looking forward to meeting you in person as well. Love to see how strong your handshake is, little man. Going back to your point, Chris, look, when the Dodgers were struggling to win the World Series, everybody was calling for Dave Roberts' head. That dialogue has seemed to have gotten really quiet after the last year, and obviously with the Dodgers being where they are. The sweetest type of revenge is winning, and that's what we're all accustomed to at this club. We're absolutely accustomed to it. From day one, the ambition for LAFC has always been at the top of the mountain. This isn't a club that settles for mediocrity or just to settle into getting into the postseason. This is a team that has ambition. And sometimes when you swing big, you miss big. And we have missed big on quite a few occasions. But still, so much football to be had. There's 34 games over the course of a regular season. We're 7 games in. You guys could call Dolo out all you want. I don't agree with it, and I know how it's going to work. It's not going to happen, y'all. It's just not. So if you want, save it for the midpoint of the season, and then we can have that dialogue. People are talking about replacements right now. I kind of think it's interesting that Benny Feilhaber is back in the equation at LAFC. Just throwing a name out there, and there is a name that you all want to throw out there just to kind of ponder. A person that's been around for a while, that probably could marry the styles of both Bob and Steve. Somebody who's had success in Major League Soccer and is top 10 scoring of all time is somebody that's been on our bench since day one. Might not be the worst idea to maybe look at Ante and give him a shot. I know people are asking about Jim Curtin, but Jim Curtin pulled one of the craziest choke jobs in an MLS Cup final, period. So, I mean, do we still want to have that dialogue where we have those kind of people in? Anyway, these are all things that I'm just talking about. But again, I'm never going to tell anybody how they should feel, as nobody should ever tell me how I feel, because I feel the way I feel whenever I damn well want to feel it. But at the same time, it's fun to have some dialogue and some stimulating conversations. Because again, Dolo out by itself is boring. It's lazy. It really, really is. To have the conversation about somebody who could be a suitable replacement. Whoa, I'm losing my voice here, and I've got 3 games to call on ESPN this weekend. That would be a nice dialogue to have fun. Here we go, Nate Forever. I'm about to cry. I'm about to cry. Yeah. Fuck off.
Hey, I appreciate you, Philly. You haven't really taken the bait tonight, which is appreciated on a family-friendly podcast.
Well, how could I, with some troll who has no balls to actually put a picture of himself up on the screen?
Juan,
For all I know, the kid's 12. He acts like it. He sure types like it. There, I took your own bait.
Juan, Juan, I absolutely love you, buddy. Juan, thank you for joining the chat, albeit a little bit late. Y'all, we don't normally go an hour and a half, but you know what? We had some feelings. We had a lot going on in this one. I tweeted on Defender's account after the match that I don't think I've ever been more frustrated or angry after a match than this one, and I still feel that way. I really do. But that being said, plenty of things ahead for LAFC, right? Like, it's a bummer, obviously, that we couldn't defend Open Cup. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Don Garber, you're just trash. Philly had enough.
I did.
Don Garber, ridiculous that we can't defend our Open Cup. All right, so that's out the window. Now, obviously, our favorite one, CONCACAF Champions Cup, that one's out the window. And MLS closer to getting exactly what it wants. CONCACAF closer to getting exactly what it wants. Lionel Messi, which, by the way, I don't think CONCACAF refereeing, nothing had anything to do with us losing this match other than ourselves. So let's be very, very clear about that. But that being said, I really do believe that there's still plenty on the table, plenty of bites at the cherry, as our buddy Max, who it's 49 minutes away from Max Bredos' birthday. Plenty of bites at the cherry in Leagues Cup, and then plenty of bites at the cherry, obviously, for MLS Cup. I'm going to save some thoughts I have about our disappointment in MLS for when we have another disappointing showing in MLS. But what I'm not disappointed in is I got to do this podcast with not just Chris Lafferty, who I've done a bunch of podcasts with over the last couple months, but my boy, my partner in pod himself, in my favorite of any of the kits that we have ever done, period. Philly is wearing the yellow YouTube Kick Childhood Cancer Awareness Kit. That is, I've said it before, as much as I love a lot of our kits, what Philly is wearing is my absolute favorite. But that being said, there's a lot of fun stuff that we still have to look forward to. And I don't think it's on the coach, but you can at me at LAFC_the scarf.
And it's not that Bale bailed us out. He did. That's sports, y'all. Like, we won. Who cares if we got bailed out? We also won the U.S. Open Cup. This is another tiring argument. Oh, Dolo wouldn't be nothing without Bale. Lazy.
Hey, Bale would be nothing without Cheeky Palacios. Anyways, I love you all. Lafferty, it was so much fun doing this with you. Philly, it was so much fun doing this with you. And look, I'm glad that I'm back from Costa Rica. I missed you guys. And Ruben, thank you. I was kind of stalling, waiting to see if Ruben would put up our favorite chat that we like at the end of all these podcasts. You guys, I absolutely love all of you. And you know how we like to end each and every one of these episodes here on Defender. There it is. A-Rod 7567, Ted Lasso in. There it is. There it is. We see him up there. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Philly?
Oh, I thought it was on you.
No, I'm just saying, say bye-bye.
Oh, bye-bye.